everyone, this is Ellen, and today I'm going to be showing you how you can crochet a simple handbag, any size you desire, using any yarn and any crochet hook. Okay, so Cindy H made a comment that gave me this idea. She commented on my yarn review for the Swish DK by Knit Picks that's on my channel. You can check that out. And I showed a bag that I made using that yarn, and she recommended that I create a tutorial for that bag. So I'm going to be showing you the method that I used to create that bag. What you will need to create any crochet bag is yarn, of course. You will need a crochet hook. You will need possibly a stitch marker. You can also use yarn for that, or you don't have to use a stitch marker, but I find them helpful. You will need an embroidery needle to weave in your ends, and also a pair of scissors to cut your yarn. So let me move these aside and tell you that the yarn that I am using today is the same yarn that I used to make this bag as an example. This is just a very, very simple bag that I made last night. And I actually made a video of myself making this bag, but the video got messed up, and so I'm just going to make a little sample just to show you. Maybe it'll be more precise this way anyway. But this yarn is a bulky yarn. It is the yarn I'm using. If you want to create this exact same bag, then know that this yarn is a bulky yarn made by, it's called Lamb's Pride. I think the company is called Brown Sheep. And it is a wool and mohair blend. It's a lovely yarn. I love working with it. And what's really particularly wonderful about it is that it will felt, and it felts beautifully. What I mean by felting is that it's when you have something that is wool, or wool and natural fibers, in this case mohair. I think silk would work as well, if it's a little bit of silk in there. Alpaca, any kind of natural hair will work for felting, whereas things like cotton and acrylic and what have you, even though cotton's natural, it will not felt. So you need an animal hair product for it to felt. And what felting means is that with agitation and heat and soap, then you can, through that process, the wool fibers will bind to one another and shrink, and the project will shrink. And you'll create a solid fabric rather than the holes, the little stitches and the holes that you get with crochet. So, think about a sweater, a wool sweater. You accidentally put it in the washing machine and the dryer. What do you get? You get like a baby sweater, and it's solid and stiff, and that's felted, which is great if that's what you're going for. But it's terrible if you've worked hard and you've made a beautiful wool sweater for yourself. But anyway, I'm using this wool, and the reason I'm talking about this is because I used a 9mm crochet hook with this. Normally, if I was just not wanting to felt this bag, I would use a smaller hook. I would use probably a 6mm or so, because I'd want my stitches to be tighter, because I'm not going to be felting it, and I don't want, things to be popping out of my bag when I put them in my bag. I could see keys totally going through these stitches. For instance, with this bag here, the bag that prompted this video, this is a little bag that I made. I use it for going on little walks. I just recycled an old Coach handbag strap that I used with that, and I'll show you how I did that as well. This little bag I made with using 3 strands of the Knit Picks Swish DK simultaneously with a 4mm hook. So it's maybe it was a 3.5. It's like either a 3.5 or 4mm hook. You'd want to make a swatch to see with your gauge how that works for you. And I got a really, really nice fabric here where there's no holes. I'm not going to be able to poke through it with this at all. Even if I try, I'm not going to be able to poke this crochet hook through this bag like I would this bag. So, and this was not felted. See, so anyway, I'm going to show you in this video how to create this portion of the bag without the flap, just a bag that you can attach a simple strap to. Then I'm going to make another video where I show you how to make the strap, and another video where I show you how to make some handles and other things to extend the design of your bag. Maybe I'll make a whole series of different ways to, different techniques to design handbags. We'll see how it goes, but for right now, I'm just going to show you how to make a very, 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 very simple bag. So I'm going to start with my yarn. And this bag, well, here, let me just show you with this. I'm not going to make the same size. I'm going to show you that this is like a nice medium-sized bag. When I felt it, it's probably going to be evening bag size. I'm going to make an itty-bitty little tiny little bag right now. But I could, if I wanted to, I can make a giant bag. I can make a suitcase-sized bag if I wanted to. Really depends on how you set up your foundation chain, okay? So how you make a chain, of course, is you start with a slip knot. I wrap how I make my slip knots is I wrap my yarn around my finger twice. I take this inside yarn, inside closer to my palm, and I bring it over this outside yarn. And then I take the outside yarn, I bring that over the inside yarn and over the finger. So now my finger is inside the slip knot. I'm going to put the hook in there, and I've got my slip knot. Now I am all ready to single crochet and make my, not single crochet, excuse me, make my chain. I'm going to grab my yarn, pull it through that loop. Grab my yarn, pull it through the loop. Grab my yarn, through the loop, and I'm going to keep chaining until I get the size of the bottom of the bag that I desire. So right now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 chains. And let's just pretend that I want that to be the width of my handbag, as opposed to the width of this bag. This is 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is it 1, 2, 3, 4? This is 5 stitches. This was 19. Okay, so there's a difference there. Okay, so then what you do is once you have the size width of bag you would like, I normally wouldn't make a bag this small, or if I did, I would make it with much smaller yarn. But you know, the crochet is freedom, and you can do anything you want. So what you're going to do is you're going to single crochet into the second chain from your hook. I'll put my single crochet in there. That's 1 single crochet. And then into the next chain. That makes 2 single crochets. In the next chain, that makes 3 single crochets. The next is 4 single crochets. And then finally, into the last chain, makes 5 single crochets. I chain 1, turn my work, single crochet into that first stitch, and all the way across my row. So this would be row 2. And if you started with 20 stitches for your chain, your starting chain, then you would have 20 stitches across. I only have 5. Let's do one more row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so I've done 3 rows. So the base of my bag is going to be 5 stitches across and 3 rows deep. Okay, whereas this one was 19 stitches across and 6 rows deep. You could do 40 rows across and 10 rows deep. I mean, you can really do any size you want. I could make this into a square. And by the way, if you use a bulky yarn and a smaller hook with that, you're going to create a very stiff piece that you can use as a basket. You know, this is not just for bags. You can also use this to make your basic basket any size. In fact, I really want to make some nesting baskets for myself shortly because I have all sorts of clutter that I need to do stuff with. But that's a whole other thing. So now that I've got the base of my bag, now I need to work on the size of the bag. You know, so here's the base, and then these are the sides. How you do that, and how I did it with this bag over here, and how I'm going to do it now, is that basically I want to single crochet all the way around this piece. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to single crochet into the same stitch that I just single crocheted into. Okay, and I'll put a stitch marker there. Let's see here. Put a stitch marker into that that last stitch here. Let's see. Okay, so I put an extra stitch there. So I have 3 rows, and I'm going to be putting an extra stitch into each corner. So I really only need 1 more stitch in the middle, right? Because if I've got 1, 2, 3, again, I'm putting an extra stitch here and an extra stitch there, then that's going to give me the 3 stitches on the side. Does that make sense? So let's see, I've got my extra stitch here. I'm going to do 1 stitch here in the, let's see, I'm going to do a stitch here on the side. And now I'm going to do 2 in this first chain here, which is essentially the first stitch of that row. Okay, so you see what I did here is that I have the 2 here and the 2 here, or I should say I have the regular stitch that I had on this side, and then there's the regular stitch that I have here, but then there's the extra stitch I have and the extra for the corner, plus this. So the 2 extra stitches plus this 1 at the end makes the 3 stitches for the 3 rows. If I had 5 rows, then I would do 3 stitches along the side, and then the 2 extra on each corner would equate to 5. So that's the math I'm using for this. It's pretty simple. I'm trying to keep this as simple as possible. And then, so I've got my first stitch already for this row, so I should have 5 total for this row. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5 into the corner here. Okay, now I'm going to do another stitch into that corner, just like before. So I've got 2 stitches in my corner. I'm going to need 1 stitch for my row, for my 3 rows, and then 2 stitches in the next corner. 1, 2. And then I'm going to continue across here. And then I'm back to my original stitch. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to put my, now you could, when you get back to the beginning, actually, you know what, I should have put the stitch marker into this first stitch that I made here. So I'm going to put a single crochet here. When you get to your end here, you can either slip stitch, chain 1 and continue, or what I like to do, just to make life easier, is I'll just continue single crocheting around, making sure I put a stitch marker in. And so yeah, row 3 is just single crocheting all the way around. Whether or not you're going to crochet in a circle, like I am, or in the round, so to speak, or if you're going to chain 1 and then continue that way, that would be fine too. But either way, you're just going to continue to single crochet all the way around until you reach your desired bag height. Let's see, I'm going to get all the way around here. Continue to go all the way around. All right, so now I'm back here at the beginning, and I'm just going to keep going, moving my stitch marker each time so I remember where I stopped. And I keep going. So how about, I'm going to pause this video, and I will meet you back once I have reached my desired bag height, and you can work on your bag as well and meet me back here. All right, see you in a minute. Okay, so I'm going to continue with this bag here, because normally you wouldn't make a bag as tiny as this. I mean, you could. This would be like a little pouch, but I don't really feel like continuing this piece. I'm just going to show you. This is, for this bag, for this size bag, I had 17 stitches across. I know I said 19 before, but I misspoke. It's actually, if you want to make this exact same size bag, and to give you an idea of the size that you would get with a bulky yarn in that size hook, 9mm hook, this is 17 rows across, 6 rows deep, and that gave me, and I put an extra stitch in each corner, which gave me 50 stitches all the way around. And I made sure to count because it's really important. If you don't count, then your bag is going to be misshapen. So it's really very simple. This is a very simple process. You just need to make sure that right from the get-go that your numbers are adding up and that you're counting your rows. And that way you'll have a flawless looking bag. So now that we've got this little bag, what I need to do is weave in the ends, which you probably know how to do, but I'll show you real quick. I'll do one. So you take your end. You take a needle. In this case, I'm using a gigantic needle because this is gigantic yarn. And you just, I like to hide it in the stitches. Now for this bag, I feel like I don't have to be too perfect because I am going to be felting this bag. But I'm still going to tie in my ends. So I did about an inch going down. Now I'm going to do about an inch going the opposite direction. Okay. And I'm going to go one more time in the next direction. Okay, so I have tied in that end, and I'm going to cut that. And I'm going to do that with all of my ends around, and you would want to do that with yours as well. So then once you've got your bag, now just to show you I'll give you a few ideas. Hang on, I'm going to get another bag to show you. Okay, so when you're making a bag, you'll want to decide, what you want that fabric of the bag to be like. So I used, like I said, a large crochet hook and made large stitches that I can poke my fingers through. Everything, like your keys can get through this. You wouldn't want to use this bag without lining it. You can make this bag like this, line it, and you'll be good to go. But in this case, I'm going to be felting it because I know this yarn felts beautifully. Let me just give you a really quick example of that. This is the same yarn that's been felted. Okay, I use the exact same stitch and the exact same crochet hook size. This is a bag that I have been using pretty much every day for the past several years. It normally has a button there, but it fell off. I need to fix that. I've got a little secure thing there. But with my felting bags, I don't really even need to line them. I'm a little bit lazy that way. So what I do instead is I get these little zipper cases that I put my keys and wallet in so that it doesn't fall out. And that way, if it's in the bag, I would have to a large piece would have to come out, and it's not likely to because I always hold it pretty well. And there's this secure thing, and I'm going to fix this button as soon as I'm done with this video because, like I said, I use this bag every day. I get compliments on it every single day. Now, if you would like to know exactly how I made that bag I just showed you, then look in the description below because on my Ravelry page, I cut and pasted the notes that I took when I made it. So basically the pattern's there, it's free, it's easy. And so yeah, you can find that there, look in the description. But in the world of simple bags, if I was not going to felt this, then I would make much, much smaller stitches or I would line it. Another thing you can do is you can, like with this bag, like I said, I use the 3 together. Then I don't have to line it or do anything unless I want to. This bag would be a lot nicer if it was lined, but what are you going to do? Maybe one day I'll line it. In the meantime, I just use it to walk my dog. Like doggy poo bags are in there. I throw my keys, I throw my phone, and I usually throw my wallet because I always like to have my ID with me. You never want to be caught without an ID. So I will show you another video how to make the flap. This is just showing you how to make this tutorial is really just to show you how to make this bag right here. So what I did for this bag is because I was making very, very tight stitches with that and leaving as small holes as possible, I needed to create a hole on each side into which to put my bag, my bag strap. So what I did, let me show you how to do that real quick. So if you're, let's see, I'll take my little sample here. So we'll say, where are we? Deep. Oh, I've accidentally taken a smaller hook to this. That's fine. So I've made it. So I'm making this little. This is my sample, and let's say I'm going over to the end. This is going to definitely make things a little bit tighter on top because I switched to a smaller hook. But this is just a sample, so it doesn't really matter. So when I get to the side of the bag where I want my strap to hook in, I want to focus on where that is. So I'm like, this is the side right here, okay? So what I do is I get to my last stitch, and instead of going into the stitch that I want to put my handbag strap into, I'm going to chain one. I'm going to skip that stitch, and I'm going to go into the next stitch. And then I'm going to continue going around my bag. And what I just did is I created a little hole here. Okay, and when I come around, let's just say I've gone all the way around and I'm coming back to that area, I definitely want to do one more row. So you would want to do this hole, you'd want to make this hole in your second to last round, because you'll want to have one more round that goes on top of it to secure it and make it stronger. So here's my hole right there. I'm going to want to put my crochet hook right into that hole and put my stitch right on top of it, and then just continue working. And what that does is that it gives you a nice, strong area above the hole. Some people call this a buttonhole because it's essentially the same way you make a buttonhole. And then I'll want to put my thing this way. And that way, if I have a big bag, this is going to be enough wool here to really give it the support it needs to hold the weight of the bag, okay? And that is how I work with this little bag. So and it works great. I don't know if I would do this for a very large bag that gets super heavy. I don't know how well it would hold. It would depend on your yarn. But for small little simple bags, this is just so easy. And what's great about this too is that with the strap, I can make a lot of these bags in different colors and stuff and just switch out my strap. And that way, it's just super easy. Now, you can create your own strap, like I did here. And the reason why this bag looks so different is because this has been thoroughly felted. You can't even see the stitch definition anymore. I love the way this yarn felted. Unfortunately, this is a discontinued yarn that I got from Valley Yarns many, many years ago. It's a wool alpaca blend, and it was like a DK weight, and it just felted so beautifully. So if you can get like a nice wool alpaca blend DK weight that's been untreated and is not superwash, then you can get a nice felt situation like this. And you can also, either felt it or not, you can create straps like this if you don't want to use a leather strap like I used. In another video, I'll show how to make this. My goal is to make, this is the foundation video, and then I'm going to make a couple different add-on videos that will show you how to make straps, how to make flaps, etc., etc. If you have any ideas on things you'd like to see on bags and how to make them, then let me know, and I can add that as part of the series. But yeah, so that's really it. We've made a simple bag that we can make with any size hook, any size yarn, and we can make any size bag with that. It's just really about creating that bag base and then working up the sides to the desired height. And again, if you're wanting to, you'll want to consider when choosing your yarn and crochet hook what you want that bag to look like. So again, if you're wanting to felt it, you'll want to use large stitches. If you're wanting a super, super tight woven type fabric, then you'll want to maybe use a very, very small hook and maybe even use several strands of yarn simultaneously. And you can create really any bag you want to create. I'm having so much fun creating all different sorts of bags. My grandmother used to own a handbag store many years ago, and handbags just always remind me of her. So ever since she's passed, I find myself a little bit obsessively making bags. I probably means something, but anyway, it makes me feel like I'm closer to my grandmother. So this is for you, Grandma. I hope the world continues to enjoy handbags. I know that you would have loved my crocheted handbags if you could have seen them. I wish I could make you one, but instead I can help other people make them for their own grandmas. Again, if you have any comments, questions, please put them below. I hope this video has been helpful. And I also hope you have a beautiful, beautiful day. Have a lot of fun with your crochet, and I will see you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.